The Browcast presents Antenna Heads,
covering the best in TV from today and yesteryear. Now your hosts, Brayan, Alex, and Cristina.
Hello and welcome to episode 76 of Antenna Heads, where we cover the best of TV from today and yesteryear. I'm your host, Brayan Cassis, joined by my other hosts, Cristina Arujo.
Yes.
And dancing Alex Arujo.
I am. I'm strutting and styling.
He's no cow mascot.
No, he's no cow mascot.
Okay, it's not that great.
First of all, you didn't even see him get low. Or her.
I didn't watch... you
her,
didn't see
it's
the
a cow,
It's
so
true.
it's a female.
It's not a bull. I just felt bad for the person in the suit in that they had to take a job where they had to dance like that. I wish that
they obviously enjoy dancing.
Yeah,
maybe they do, but I wish
they
they could be better served by the availability of jobs.
Well,
Speaking of available
it's
jobs,
Mexico.
it's Mexico, man.
if you know of any available jobs in Mexico or otherwise, reach out to us at antenna_heads. Political scientists work well in any field. Medical.
As do French majors.
Wonderful.
Don't
How you guys doing?
Don't forget business majors.
That's true.
Yeah, you're locked in.
Yeah. For life. I held up 4 fingers to illustrate 4.
On an audio podcast.
They were. It's best on audio
They
podcasts.
know. They see it.
In their mind's eye.
Yeah.
Chris, how you doing?
Okay.
Yeah?
Drinking some champs.
That's right.
How you doing?
Champagne is what you
Yeah.
meant. For
Yeah,
us,
champagne.
for us honkies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. A very small bottle.
It's the perfect size.
It's true. One
Seeing as
serving.
I don't drink champagne because it gives me headaches, it's the perfect size.
Just a little tremor in the head
But
by the
like,
time you're done.
this is, how many ounces is this? This
6?
is...
It's probably milliliters.
It might be milliliters.
No, I need it.
I need a conversion calculator.
This is astounding audio.
I just honestly can't even find where it says, okay, 11.5% alcohol.
Clearly, she's had enough to drink as it is.
I had like 2 sips.
Well, clearly 2 sips is 2 sips too many.
No, it literally doesn't say.
You have to guesstimate. I'm drinking some Heineken here.
187 milliliters. So,
187.
for those of you in Europe, you know exactly what I'm
There you
drinking.
go. Our listener, Claudius, in Greece. Shout out to Claudius. He's definitely real. I'm not making up Claudius. I didn't make a phony Twitter account and start tweeting at Antenna Heads just to make myself feel well.
All in Greek. I didn't learn Greek.
Or just use Google Translate
for
now.
this persona.
I'll tell you what, Chris. Break from tradition.
Uh-huh.
Let's do the Antenna Heads plugs right now. Not your
we did
personal
that last
plugs.
week.
No.
Yeah, we did.
No, we
No.
did your plugs. Let's do the Antenna Heads plugs right now.
Well, before we move on, it's 6.2 ounces.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Human calculator,
So,
iPad in
it's
hand.
less than a
iPad.
glass, really. I mean, you're not going to drink,
Three-quarters of a cup.
you're not going to drink a full cup of champagne, because I've done that before. And hence why I don't like champagne anymore. Yes, the plugs.
Yes.
If Claudius or anyone else wants to get in touch with us, they can tweet us at antenna_heads on Twitter. They can let us know what they're watching or ask us TV-related questions. Or
Stop staring down at your champagne like it's going to disappear.
or tell us what they like in their champagne. If anyone would like to listen to this episode or old episodes, they can do so on our website, broadcast.com, where they can also comment in the forum or on the post itself. You can also check out a whole back catalog of episodes of Browcast,
Right.
a tech podcast.
For those of you who are wondering what it is.
With our very own Brayan and Al.
The brow of the broadcast.
Yes.
Interesting side note.
Still a great name, though.
Brian, you might not know this. I know. It was great.
Chris was not there for that. She was sick.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
the
was
picking
sick
of it?
that day.
Oh, clearly, because you wouldn't let us get away with that. This is actually mine and Brian's 150th podcast together between Antenna Heads and Broadcast.
How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew I knew we surpassed the total amount of broadcasts recently.
Yep.
Because for some reason my computer orders things in the stupidest fucking order. It goes by episode number on the MP3, but not by file name.
That is weird. Yes. Anything else to plug, Chris, or is that everything?
Yeah. You can also listen to us on TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes.
Of course.
We're
And you can
stream
rate us in all
friendly.
those places because
You should.
it's very nice.
Yeah. And tell us, tell
Tell us if you buy that Claudius is a real person.
Claudius.
I said Claudius. It's the same thing, right?
Don't anger
You
him.
want to
Claudia
offend our
and
fake
Claudia,
listener?
Same thing,
Huh?
right?
Yeah, sure,
No?
whatever.
Okay.
Big week this week, guys. Lots of premieres.
Huge week, we would say.
If you guys,
Well,
we
if you,
wouldn't say that.
I would say if you like Emmy class shows, check out Netflix or Amazon.
Good
Not
joke.
the
Good
crap that we saw this week.
I got the joke. Big week this week. Lots of premieres. If you're sick of us talking about shows we like, as we did last week with Agent Carter and Empire, which Chris was watching before the show, the second episode
I
up,
was.
you're going to be really happy with this week because, my God, was there just a 4-story pile of shit dropped on us. Let's start with maybe my favorite show of
It
the
was
week.
my favorite. And that's like,
Not mine.
just so you know, okay, this was the first show I watched.
Well, I'll tell you the shows we watched.
Eye Candy on MTV.
Yes.
Togetherness on HBO.
HBO, yep.
Woman Seeking Man on
Man Seeking Woman.
Man Seeking
Yeah.
Woman. Woman Seeking Man would be a much more interesting show. in my opinion.
Maybe. But
That's on FXX.
yes.
And the last one is
Wrestling with Death?
Wrestling with Death on WGN America, reality series.
Which we don't normally do reality
We
series.
don't, but Brian fought tooth and nail to get this onto our docket, and
It was a departure from the norm.
yes, the norm being successful television
Yeah.
shows.
So
I
I figured it was a half hour. It was worth the shot.
Last week, you might remember, listeners, that I mentioned that we'd be watching Eye Candy this week, and Chris and Brian both fought me on it. And I know at least Chris is thankful that I succeeded in getting it on the docket because
Stop saying docket.
why? What should
We're
I
not
call
in a
it?
court.
What should I call it?
On the agenda?
Yeah.
Agenda sounds more court-like than docket.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, but I like docket better.
Ugh.
So anyway, our docket this week
Oh my god.
is
Stop using it every time.
okay. Fine.
Sprinkle it.
You
Sprinkle
know,
it
if I had a
throughout.
boat, I'd have to dock it at the pier.
If you had a boat, I would sink it. So that you died.
All right. Well, now I can finally go on with my insurance scheme. This Chris. Okay.
And I
Candy.
can promise you one thing. I wouldn't be wrestling with your death.
Horrible.
The death of a piece of eye candy. like my boat. Okay, Chris, tell us about Eye Candy. I was really excited to hear
Oh,
about it
God.
because it's based off of an R.L. Stein novel.
So why don't you tell us about Eye
Sure,
Candy?
I will.
Al, tell us about Eye Candy.
You got it. I did this last week, too. I took over for your fucking...
I know, it's fine.
Eye Candy basically centers around Victoria Justice's character of Liddy.
Lindy.
Lindy.
Yeah.
Lindy, yeah.
Lindy.
Lindy.
Like, I think of, like, Lindbergh, like the Lindbergh baby.
That's the only way I remembered it.
Kind of makes sense because
That's how I remembered it.
Lindy,
Spoiler, Al.
I'm going to say it right now. Lindy is a hacker who is trying to find her sister who got kidnapped while at a fast food restaurant while
White
Lindy
Castle.
was watching. No, it was a Hamburger Hound.
Bull
Yeah,
fucking shit.
it was
There was
like
a White
the
Castle.
worst.
It was Hamburger Hound, which clearly means it was a Chinese
It
food
looked
restaurant.
like it was a worse quality hamburger than White Castle.
It did.
No, the outside was entirely a White Castle. They just put these drop banners over the side.
Why
It looked like a ghetto White Castle.
Anyway,
Okay.
she's trying to find her sister Sarah, who was kidnapped. Eventually, 2 years after, 2 years after she gets kidnapped, 3 years after? My
3.
mistake. 2 years, 3 years
Oh.
after.
Really?
It was 3.
It might have, it very well might have.
I was happy it jumped forward that far in time because I said, oh, thank God. Fuck this shit.
3 years later, her friends start to prod her to join a internet dating site, Flirtual.
Wait. You're missing out on a big part.
What part am I missing?
Unless you're planning on getting to it.
Unless
It kind of came before it in the story.
Are you talking about that she was on, she got arrested for
Yes,
hacking?
yes.
I mentioned she's a hacker. Also, thank you for just, like,
I
intercepting.
know, I'm sorry. I do it all the time. Go ahead.
Great. Flirtual, basically Tinder. And she meets some guys, one of whom she believes becomes a stalker and starts stalking her, and in fact hacks her. So it's the hacker becoming the hackee, in a sense.
I wrote, the hacker becomes the hacked.
Yours is better.
Like the hunter becomes the hunted.
Like hacky. If she had testicles, she'd have a hacky sack. Come on. No?
That was even worse than my wrestling with death.
I'll take over the plot from here.
I'll just cut that out. Brian, why don't you tell us what happens after? She gets hacked.
So she now needs to figure out who is stalking her. So she figures, well, let me try the old DNS, blah, 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 fake shit, and reverse the camera and look through your webcam and find out who you are, sir. To which they have already blocked that move, and she sees some weird fucking video. She then decides to narrow down the choices by hacking into the Flirtual database and getting as much data as possible, and realizes that there have been 3 missing persons that have just disappeared from the face of the earth, and she thinks there's a connection with the stalker, but let me be a police person and track down who this killer is,
right,
and invite them for a date, one after another.
Right. And she sets up dates with her 3 suitors that she meets at the first night.
She had met the first night, right?
Yes. And also, she works with her ex-boyfriend, Ben, who's a detective, and who, spoiler, gets killed at the end of this episode.
Who is, spoiler, the worst fucking policeman I think I've ever seen.
You mean he just, gives up his gun really quickly?
No.
He might be the best policeman I've ever seen.
Worse.
Okay, so basically, the show, as a series, carries on in that Lindy, still going to be really hard, is...
Just think of Lindbergh. It's fine.
I can't. Lindy is trying to find this stalker, this murderer, as we find out, because in the opening, we see him kill a different girl and drop her body off somewhere, and kids with a soccer ball end up finding her. Trying to find the murderer, and also, obviously, trying to find her sister. I thought one of the big issues of the show was just how much they were trying to establish that Victoria Justice was an adult. I know that she's really famous from being on Victorious and all these other Nickelodeon shows, but MTV tried tooth and nail in various ways in the show to make you think that she's not a kid anymore. She's an adult, trying to give her the old Miley Cyrus treatment.
She's got a real job.
She has a real job.
In an office. She has rooftop sex.
Really?
On patio furniture.
Evidently, that was actually Victoria Justice's first sex scene, and it shows because she could not have been more awkward or that is
it was it went from nothing to let's hook up. It was oh, you're my ex and you're staying at my place and I kind of don't want you to, but you're gonna stay anyway and that's fine. Yeah. To
it's familiar. She's done it before.
Let's talk about that scene. But my overall point here is that it's really annoying to have Victoria Justice constantly going, "Oh my God, we're adults. We're not kids anymore."
You're kidding, right? Welcome to the world of modern dating. You're like a century late. I'm not doing it. What? That's what all the kids are doing. We're not kids. Okay, and we are not married either.
Yakety yak. I don't care.
It plays to the target audience of MTV, though.
Everything's in Williamsburg.
I'm not saying it's not pathetic.
Right. There's this. Chris commented on it when she watched
many things.
Well, can we start? Let's start at the beginning.
Start from the very beginning.
From the beginning.
Okay.
So the kidnapping. The fucking kidnapping pissed me off in that
so much.
They're in a drive-thru, which was ingenious in essence because now, before they get in the drive-thru, her sister says she's trying to give her the I'm your older sister and now your mom because our mom died talk.
Mm-hmm. Right, because she previous to that she had cock-blocked some guy.
Whatever, yeah, and so
because her sister was gone for 3 days.
Yeah, so she's partying like crazy. So she goes, I gotta pee. So she goes inside the restaurant, and then she'll pick her up after, because whatever. I understood that kind of makes sense. Now she's stuck in the drive-thru, pinned in between cars.
Right.
The front car notices the girl standing there. Now, you're waiting for an order. Now, you may be checking your phone or whatever. A van pulls up. Mm-hmm. Now, a van pulls up in front of you in the drive-thru. You're going, what the fuck is this guy doing? Because now how am I going to get out?
Right.
My food's here. It's going to get fucking cold. I got to go home. Don't do anything. Don't, start looking around at all. The fucking door opens. And a guy with a fucking mask on his face gets out. That should be another one going, what the fuck is going on? All right, maybe you're a little too busy Tindering or flirtuing, whatever. And, okay, whatever. Then the guy goes and proceeds to grab the girl. Not only does he grab her and she's trying to resist him from pulling in, she's doing a pretty fucking good job of doing it.
Yeah.
So she's really resisting for a good 30 to 45 seconds of TV time, which in real lifetime is
20 minutes.
20 minutes a month. And nothing happens. This whole time then it's very dramatic because Victoria Justice has to get out of the car, but she can't open
Okay.
She
Right
can't
there.
open the door.
Victoria Justice is trying to get out of the car. You are in a 2-ton killing machine. You're in a car yourself.
There's another car in front of her.
There's 2 cars in front of her.
I
Yeah.
thought there was no car in front of her.
There were
No, there
two.
was-
She had to climb over the cars. Did you not
That
see
is
that?
true.
Al, that's what I'm saying. The
She was
car was
climbing over
there.
cars.
But
what bothered me the most was that there were people in those cars in front of them.
And
When
that's
you
what
see
I mean.
a 16-year-old girl
That's
getting
true.
kidnapped.
There is that.
You do nothing.
But
I
there,
mean,
there were some shots where it looked like, in terms of filming, where it looked like she was looking directly at the car.
It was bad second direction.
yeah.
I mean,
but
the
it
show had a lot
wasn't-
of problems, but it was
you
bad
could see
second
that there were
direction.
2 cars in front of her.
They shot the other scene, the chase scene,
Mm-hmm.
in a different location altogether because you don't even see the drive-through.
Right.
But on that lead car, I'd be on the phone already calling the cops,
Right.
and I'd probably get out because.
I mean, it's.
So let's.
I
if I'm
understand.
by
I'm
myself,
like, okay, what if you don't have like they
if
might
I'm
have a
by
gun?
myself-
That's one thing. I
if
understand.
I'm by myself, I get out. If I'm with my family, I'm in the car on the phone with the cops, and I'm going to chase after these guys in my car, at least until I can lead the cops to a certain direction. Let's say they blow lights or whatever. Nothing happens. Nobody moves.
To your
Victoria
point-
Justice gets over these cars,
That's right.
rolls in front, and then realizes she's going to get run over, which would have been great because then the show would end. But she decides at the last second, oh, I better dive back and
Not get hit
One
by
thing
the
she
car.
didn't get, or at least
car.
we didn't see her get, is the license plate number. That's 13020JB, by the way, folks.
Did you pause it to see it?
I
'Cause she can't
did,
pause real life.
But the car was coming
And it's-
at her for
and it's
several seconds.
nighttime.
You could see
and
it
not
quite
just
easily.
as the security cameras all over that drive-through.
And there's like 2 cars in front of her also.
Yeah, somebody should have seen it.
So yeah, this girl should have been found in like 25 minutes.
And not for nothing, but these fucking vans, they're not that common. If it was a white van that was for construction,
Yes.
you'll never see her again. But it's a black fucking van with like this pinstriping on it, the fucking smoked out mirrors, window cut out in the back.
Now, like I said, in the beginning, as Brian very well described, the sister storyline is a main focus, but it pretty much totally gets dropped until like the last 5 minutes of the show where she's having sex with Ben on top of the roof. Because after, post-coital,
Don't ever.
they look up to the
Nope.
stars, and she, for whatever reason, just goes, "Oh, I like to think one of those stars is my sister." Well, great. Thanks
Well,
for bringing that up after 40 minutes
the
of
sister
show.
storyline is sort of the fuel that gets you into her background and like her being able to be a hacker.
Yeah, but that's
Because she hacked so that she could find her sister. That's how she got into it. That's how she got arrested.
Well,
That's how all the things went wrong with her relationship with Ben. That's how she knows what to do with the flirtual.
right. But you would think that would be a bigger storyline throughout the entire episode,
Well,
especially since that's going to be a storyline in the entire series.
But they try to
because
make
the
it
real
seem like-
storyline is the stalker. That's what the real storyline is.
And they also try to make it seem very like she knows she's probably not going to find her sister, so she might as well at least help other people find their
Yeah.
missing people, because that's another part they
Right.
mentioned in the show.
Yeah.
This is part of the problem with the show. It's a shit ton of stuff they're trying to fit in and be, oh, look how, whatever. I never read the book, so I can't say what type of an adaptation this was. Was it just a skeleton and they kind of fleshed it out their own way, or was this the way that R.L. Stein wrote this? I personally like to believe that R.L. did not write this piece of shit the way this is portrayed on TV.
I will say this in positive of the show. As many problems as it has a lot of problems. I was not ever bored watching the show. I wanted to see what happened next, if for nothing else than to have something to make fun of. I liked the cheesiness of the dialogue, especially. There's this one scene where Lindy and Ben are on the roof right before they have sex, and Lindy, like, they're flirting. It's the cheesiest flirting anyone has ever flirted with, ever. Like, she takes his gun, and she's like, "Oh, I don't believe in guns." And he's like, "Oh, well, what do you believe in?" And it's like, okay, neither of you are having sex with the other one because they're both so turned off at this point. It's just ridiculous.
What are you doing up here?
I needed some air.
You didn't hear me calling? Something could have happened.
No?
Maybe you should just cut this police officer a break.
now you're admitting to being a cop. You don't look like a cop. I'm gonna need to see your badge.
I have a gun.
I don't believe in guns.
What do you believe in?
The dialogue is really bad. Even the opening monologue of the hacker.
This is
of the stalker.
This is what I want to talk about. Okay.
Go ahead.
So literally, I mean, that wasn't that far in. That was okay. We see the scenes with the sister where she gets kidnapped.
Yes.
Then we are basically then right away we're introduced to the stalker.
Yeah, because that's when you see him hunting the blonde, essentially.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine the stalker's probably the fat kid that works with her.
I thought it was Ben for a while.
No.
And I thought they would have been well served to continue that possibility of it being Ben even
Maybe
for 3
it's the
episodes.
other cop.
It could be. I think he's going to be the main love interest.
Oh, it could be the other cop, because then she'll
don't
bang
think
him
so.
and
But
regret
honestly,
it.
I think if they had kept Ben alive for 3 episodes, maybe alluded to it maybe being Ben stalking her, and then had him die, it would
I
have been
think
more
it's
meaningful.
one of the people. Okay,
I
this
think
is who I thought it
Ben-
was, right?
Ben was fortunate that he was killed off first. He doesn't
You're
have to
making
live
the
through
same
this
joke
shit.
over and over again.
No, it's terrible.
Chris.
Well, when they were going through the virtual profiles, the person who didn't have a picture that she turned down, I thought maybe it would be them.
It's possible.
But anyway, so
Oh, that makes sense, because it did say it was stalkery.
Yeah.
Oh, no, serial killery.
that was someone else.
No, no picture.
Oh yeah, that it's
Yeah,
That's
so
why
that's
I thought,
you're probably right. It would be contrived like that.
On the monologue, though.
on the monologue. Okay, so when he's in the apartment and you're hearing his thoughts, I was like, why? Why do we always have to hear people's thoughts in shows? It doesn't work. Stop doing it.
I didn't.
And his
Poor
it
girl.
was the most obnoxious, I literally wanted to peel back my nails. That's how much
like a
it
serial
bothered
killer.
me. Do you know sometimes when you're so okay? I don't know if this might just be me. Sometimes when I'm so angry, I kind of clench my nails into my hands so hard that it hurts.
That's a very childish thing to do.
But I do something so that it hurts.
Okay.
And that kind of I don't know.
Yeah.
I needed
cut my
that.
skin open,
I kind of needed that because it hurts so much
Yeah.
hearing it. The whole thing about the crooked teeth, and
Yeah.
then
I thought that was mildly good in that it established how insane this guy is. But what really bugged me about that particular monologue
the
was
visuals.
was the fact that he says, "Now I have to kill you,"
Yeah.
because that totally spoils the act of him killing her.
Julia Becker.
You want a drink before the restaurant?
Prettier than your picture. That's unusual.
You coming in?
Are you the one?
Sorry, it's just cheap wine.
You love yoga and spinning?
Besides,
Well, it shows.
hey, we could get knocked over by a bus tomorrow, right? Here it is.
You are so hot.
You
But
can't.
there's something wrong with her face.
The coffee
What
machine.
is it? Crooked. Why are they crooked? You didn't tell me that.
Rush next
You
door.
do it on purpose. To hide your flaws. They all do. They're all liars. Playing their online games. Filthy,
Can you try?
crooked teeth. Poor girl. Now I have to kill you.
Are you okay?
If he had said, "Now I have to keep searching," or some other vaguity, and then killed her,
Or he just something simple like, oh, well.
or even that,
and then
it basically that line takes away the surprise of killing someone.
The panning back and forth between her teeth, visually, it was like nails on a chalkboard.
You don't like crooked teeth?
No, I have crooked teeth, but it's the way that they kept showing it and just focusing in on the one yellow tooth. I just was
I literally wrote, "Speaking as a guy with not perfect teeth, fuck you."
and then okay, so he slits her throat and it's all blood and everything, which I thought was visually jarring. That I thought was okay, in terms of how he kills her, because I thought it was gorier than you would expect.
He actually
then-
gets her with a corkscrew, and we
Yeah.
all know how dangerous those can be.
Ow. So after that, after he kills her, he's basically like walking around and it's his whole internal monologue.
That's the one. I was referring to like the opening of the show where it's like, my job used to be so hard. The internet, God's greatest gift to stalkers. It's like, okay, this is clearly like a Goosebumps level opening. All you need is like a dog barking in the background.
It was literally the most annoying thing. The whole time, Al was sitting behind me, I'm screaming. Like, no, make it stop. Make it stop.
Human life. So delicate. So fragile. Easy to extinguish. I look for the freshest, the juiciest, the most tender USDA prime, grade A, low-fat, ultra-lean. The one. Used to be I had to go outside to find them. Not anymore. The internet. God's gift to psychopaths. Are any of them real? I need someone real. Someone who understands. Why do they lie? They'll pay. One by one.
At that point, I literally thought that I was going to turn off the show, and when we had to record this, I would just say, no, that's as far as I got. I cannot talk about the rest. I could not give the show any more time because it was literally that awful. Like, how do you do that? How do you make me hate you so much?
Let's look at Victoria Justice's acting specifically, because she's obviously the protagonist. She's very important to the show. I thought her dramatic scenes left me really wanting. Like, especially the scene where Ben is killed and she finds Ben dead. Like, it felt like it was bordering on comedy just because her way of getting across that she's so affected by his death is just by constantly going, no, no, no.
It's too late to save me. Ben, what's happening? No, you stay with me. You stay with me. Say what?
Lindy.
I love you, Ben. I love you, Ben.
It'll take just one to show you the way.
No! Where is he? Please, where is he?
Like, personally, that's how I reacted to it, where I was like, no, why did you just kill Ben? I can't believe you just killed Ben. Like, that's it? Like, you just killed him? No.
Oh, I called it, though.
You knew it was going to happen.
Because as soon as they, like, started getting back together, I'm like, betcha he dies.
I said that.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think I said it because I wrote it down, but whatever. We might have both said it because it's a pretty obvious thought. Anyway, but what do you think of Victoria Justice's acting overall, Chris?
It's hard to tell if it was her acting or the writing that did it, but I thought it was pretty weak.
I'm going to say,
It's just...
Things that make you go,
It feels like there's no emotion.
She was very emotional when her sister was being kidnapped. But I would say it was more anger at the people in front of her that weren't doing anything either.
Well, it's also frustration that you have to climb out a window and, like, fall. And
it was hilarious. Like, she tries to get out one window, doesn't work, tries to get out the other.
And, of course, in typical fucking TV land, it's pouring like crazy.
Yeah. Of course. Everyone goes to fast foods in the rain.
Like I said, as many problems as the show has, I still enjoyed it, if for nothing else, than the fact that it gave me something to laugh at and something to make fun of.
There were lots of.
There were little things.
It's like Star-Crossed in that way.
So, do you guys want
Star-Crossed was better to watch.
Do you guys want to list some of the little things that bugged you?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Thank God, because I have a couple here. There's a line where right after Victoria Justice finds out that she's being stalked when she gets home after going to the bar.
Okay.
The bar that her friend owns,
which is in the back of a flower shop.
But it has a regular entrance because there was a bouncer.
Yeah.
But she goes in through a flower shop, which is ridiculous.
Like, was it the case or was it next to the case?
No, it was, you walk into like the case and then like there's this weird thing of like hanging fake flowers.
It's flowers.
You have to walk through the case, like the refrigerated door case.
Yes.
with flowers and everything there. You have to walk through that. Okay.
Super cheesy.
I wasn't sure if I was misremembering, and it wasn't that you went through the case, but you went through the door next to the case. So okay.
That would make too much sense.
But that's on my list.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Also,
that's how you know it's exclusive. New York.
But that's how super cheesy they are. It's like, okay, how do we make 15-year-olds think this is cool? Oh,
Yeah.
there's a secret entrance.
And that it's New York. I feel like people always feel like they need to do shit like that. Like, oh, it's New York. Why? It has to be like, you have to go through a toilet into the Ministry of Magic.
Or when the taxi driver, when she's trying to get home because she thinks her friend
yes,
is killed.
that's on mine too.
It's New York.
It's New York. It's traffic. Come on.
No. Okay, I'm
Bagels.
sorry. No.
Go ahead.
This
you
was
take
the
it.
best.
Bagels, Yankees, Brooklyn.
You guys are making fun
pizza.
of it. I think that was the best piece of writing on the show. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because she goes, what is that? It's literally a line of cars, right? And they're stuck behind them. She goes, what is that? He goes, it's New York. It's traffic.
It's like Zoe Deschanel now asking Siri if it's raining outside. Yeah, it's not raining outside. You're looking out a window.
Quote, it's New York. We have traffic. It's like the most perfect answer.
If we're still on the things that we hated.
Yes.
One of her 3 dates that she meets at the bar through Flirtual, she starts talking to him, I think when they meet up again later, and he just starts rallying on about how the internet is bringing people further apart.
The Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Grandpa, calm down.
It's true.
Go take your thyroid pill or whatever, and go to bed at 4 o'clock.
But
Get over yourself.
That was
But
the
it's
only
so-
genuine part of the show.
No. But the thing is,
It's so clichéd.
It's
Of course
so
it is.
obviously true that everyone has discussed it to such a degree that we don't even have to keep talking about it. Everyone knows. Everyone knows we're drifting apart socially because, of technology. Like, that's, if someone wrote a paper about that for their class, they would get,
fail
like, a
them.
C because it's pedantic.
And over obvious.
Technology isn't bringing us closer together. It's allowing us to treat people as disposable. I mean, we talk all day through all these electronic devices. We don't look people in the eye. There's no accountability.
But is technology or the way human nature uses technology to blame?
Chris, tell us about the other date and what the guy says when she installs a game on his
So
phone.
the last date, she's installing a game. She's playing a game and on her phone, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so
I
obsessed."
think the guy's name was Peter.
She's like, she says this to all of them. She's like, "Are you sure you want it on your phone? You're gonna hate me. You're gonna be so obsessed with it."
This was her way of hacking their phone to find out if they
Exactly. So she takes his phone and starts installing it, and he goes, "Every time I play with it, I'll think of you," and just stares like dead.
Don't hate me.
I doubt that.
Once I download this game, you're on your own.
Every time I play with it, I'll think of you.
You knew it was a double entendre. We
know,
knew it was.
You know
It's MTV.
masturbation.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Things I hate.
By all means.
Flirtual.
Well, I hated
The
virtual.
name.
It's
awful.
I thought it was actually kind of clever. It's like, if there was an app called Flirtual, I might download it just so I can say, oh yeah, I have Flirtual.
It's definitely what R.L. Stein wrote. That's like something a writer would write.
It's great.
But it's not something that anyone in real life would have.
It's not a marketing.
Something else that really annoyed me was the fact that every single man on the show had the same exact haircut.
There it is.
They were all like clones of each other.
Yep.
It was so hard to tell people apart.
Parted on the side and kind of slicked back.
Oh, fuck you.
Every single one.
That's what it is. Yours isn't like that.
His is curly, that's why
Yeah.
it looks different. But like super short on the sides, longer on top. I mean, obviously lots of people have that
Popular
haircut.
cut. Yeah.
But it was every single guy on the show. You can't tell anyone apart. And they're all tall. They all look very similar.
Except for her fat friend who works next to
Yeah.
her.
The stalker.
Even the gay friend, he had the same haircut. Everyone. It's just like, come on, guys. It's a new show. You want people to be able to tell your characters apart. You need defining features.
Yep. Anything else? Do you want to go to scores on this?
The fact that there was that lawn chair on at first, when they kept cutting, I thought it was a couch. Because when you see them laying on it, like the close up, it looks like a leather couch. But then when they show from far away, it's a lounge chair. And then the split in the cushions was weird, and it seemed like it was wider than it actually was.
You're just picking on like furniture now.
No,
Yeah.
because
Al.
I thought it was like the back of like Like the backseat of like a car or something.
It looks like
a
continuity
minivan or
errors.
something. I don't know.
No, it probably was continuity.
Because it looks like they filmed the close-ups on a different piece of furniture. That's important.
Okay. All right.
No, I take
Saying
that.
it's
I'll
not
tell the Al
important.
comment back. It wasn't a flashing light in a toilet.
It also bothered
First
me.
of all, that show is canceling for good reason. All right, so fuck off, Chris.
You enjoying Cristela?
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I'll bang it out in like a week. A bunch of fucking scotch or something. And just take a nap.
The cop
Which one?
walking
Ben.
Huh.
walking up to the
Does anybody know? Sorry, the other guy's name?
no
I can tell you, but keep talking.
the cop walking up to the dummy in the apartment really
Oh, that fucking pissed
really
me off.
bothered me because
Bothered you, like creeped you out, or
no
bothered
no
you
no
like
no
stupid guy?
no stupid guy because you can see when he realizes it's a dummy and he still keeps walking like
Is that my brother?
What's a dummy up to?
it's like it's just brain
Is that my
thinking.
twin brother?
I think the cop's name was Jake. The other one.
Al, it's just like brain thinking
Every day when I'm walking
like,
down
oh,
the street,
it
I stop.
was awful.
I hated the fact that he would walk into the room first before cutting the pie to check the corner.
Or didn't bother to bring a fucking flashlight.
That's what I told Chris. I was like, he's got to have a flashlight. It's just like cop training 101 that he did not even take, and he's a fucking detective.
Yeah, not a great show, but I think a show that is really fun just to make fun of. Chris, score? Or anything else?
Okay, can I be last?
Okay, that's fine. I had this at 2 out of 5.
I was
Okay.
going to give this a 2, except it was an hour long, so I gave it a 1.5.
Okay,
Actually,
so
no, I take that back. I give it a 1.
Okay.
I gave it a 2, thinking that I wasn't being generous, like that I was, I was being fair because of the infuriating nail ripping off bits.
Mhm.
But I think I'm being too generous because really, what did it have that made up for that? I mean, I think the killings were actually well done in that they were graphically surprising.
I did enjoy the killing of Peter, the guy.
Holy shit! The phone is vibrating in his mouth, and I'm just like dying.
I thought it was visually interesting. I liked that he was dead because he's such a fucking douchebag.
No, he was a sweetheart.
He was the
except
one.
for the whole he was the one
who's like, oh, I'll think of you when I'm jacking it or whatever. He
yeah,
said.
but he still
At
seemed
least
like
he was honest about
he
it.
still
God
seemed like he
damn
was
it.
the nicest of all
Take
of them.
off your pants and
You know
jacket.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have the Australian who, like, honestly, I mean, he's good looking and
Yeah,
he
he's
has
playing-
nice. He has a very watered down Australian accent, which
Yeah.
is whatever. It's
Because he
fine.
probably isn't Australian.
Chris, I'm sorry. He's handsome and he's Australian. He doesn't need help meeting women.
Well, when you go on and on and on about
I
how
know.
tech is separating us as a society,
I wish you could have seen like the elongated version of the conversation where he goes on to like talk about how great
and
like,
she's just like
Campbell
not.
soup is,
She's just like thinking he's all that and like, oh, he has such a good point. I'm like, you're a fucking hacker.
and how he loves Murder, She Wrote, and how his doctor has really warm hands and it's convenient. You know, all the things.
How his dog has worms and
Yeah.
he's funny.
How his wife died 30 years ago, and it's been hard. I don't know, because he's old.
Too far.
He's an old man.
Too far.
Fine. His wife's alive. Happy?
No.
That's actually not far enough.
So
Not far
yeah,
enough.
just there's some infuriating things that just can't be
So
overcome.
2 out of 5
2 out of 5.
on your part.
But I still don't think it deserves it.
Okay.
But so this is what I was gonna say before. This is the first show I watched
Mine too.
out of all of the shows we watched this week, and I was like, "This is utter shit. Like, how can we do worse? We can't.
Oh.
Obviously, we can't. This is going to be the low point of the week, and it just got progressively worse.
And let's get to worse right now with HBO's new comedy, Togetherness. Brian, why don't you tell us about that?
I disagree in that it's worse, by the way.
Okay, well, by all means, but what is Togetherness about?
Togetherness is
Question I was left with after watching the show.
Togetherness is supposed to be about kind of like a midlife crisis for what ends up being. I couldn't tell if it was his brother.
No, that's just a friend.
It's
of
just
his.
a friend.
Alex is the friend of the main character.
So the main characters are husband and wife. They've been together.
Creeps me out.
Very Megan Mullally feel.
What, her?
Yeah.
No.
You know who she is? She
She used to be
She's the
Rose.
neighbor on Two and a Half
she was
Men.
Two and a Half Men. I know, but she's got a very Megan Mullally
She's
feel.
also in Happy Christmas. She's Australian.
She has a very Megan Mullally feel in 2 and a Half Men, but I don't think she does here.
No,
Not
it's
at
just I
all.
see her talk
Mhm.
and her just general features, and it reminds me of.
Madeline Lewinsky. Is it?
I know
the
who
only
she
one.
is. I know who she is.
Well, then say her name.
All right. Well,
You're the only
whatever.
one. Go ahead.
They just had a kid, and there's some intimacy issues. and there's some whatever struggles, new parents or whatever. But this isn't their first kid; it's their second one.
No, yeah, they've had.
They've had another kid. Then the remaining characters are his friend, who is gone to Hollywood to follow his acting career, and now he's being evicted from his apartment, and her sister, who is still making bad choices and going after different men.
And a perpetually single 30s.
Perpetually single 30, on her way to being a spinster, as she calls it. He's an actor whose heyday was 20 years ago, who's getting fatter and balding. And the whole point of the show is that eventually they realize...
she's actually from New Zealand. They said she was from Australia.
Oh, Melanie Winsky.
Yeah.
The whole point of the show is that they come together. Mm-hmm. And...
Yes. Yeah. And her sister and his friend are now living at their house.
Right, and so now they have an extended family. She decides not to fly back to Houston where she's living right now, and he decides that he's not going to move back in with his mom in Detroit. And the interesting part is that they both, the main character, the husband and wife, confide in them that they need them to be there. You need to come tonight.
Right.
It's family day. Please, just give me a day. Because he's ready to drive the U-Haul to Detroit. Amanda Peet plays the sister, and she says the same thing. Look, I have to confess something, but I need you to come here tonight. In terms of humor, it's something you'd expect from the Duplass brothers, if you've ever seen The League. Although I was impressed that it didn't go to the same level as The League. It was not to that extreme to just kind of freak you out. It had some interesting sexual stuff, some weird husband-wife, friend, confidant, brother, sister kind of thing. It had a fun scene when they all just decide to chug some wine, almost like to go back to their heyday. The cast has good, decent chemistry. The show is flawed in that the friends are it's almost so stereotypical, clichéd, fat balding actor, but who's very charismatic and funny, or could be perceived as funny, and the still attractive and young, but kind of at the end of her rope in terms of finding Mr. Right. That
she already found Ken Marino, so she's done finding Mr. Right.
So the two of them are going to end up coming together and hooking up.
Possibly. It seems like where
it's going. That's where it's going. And it's so cliched. It's like, the show could potentially be good. It just needs better writing.
I'm going to disagree with you on some points. The comedy here is nearly non-existent. And what is there is utterly bland and cliched. Basically, the main joke, or the main thing that's supposed to make you laugh in this first episode, is various different kinds of masturbation jokes.
Yep.
You have the wife masturbating instead of wanting to sleep with her husband because she's got the whole married couple syndrome where she's kind of sick of him.
Super fucking cliche.
Yes. You have him.
She's reading 50 Shades because that's the only romance.
Well, it's current, and I understand that, but
it's not even current.
I mean, masturbation jokes in general are cliched.
It's current for people that are watching the show and probably like, at least they recognize the name of the book. They recognize the cover.
You have Mark.
That's the point.
It's just so lazy.
Yes. You have Mark Duplass, who also basically starts the show with a masturbation joke in that his wife doesn't want to sleep with him, so he does it himself. And aside from that, the comedy here is really, really hard to wring out of this. I mean, I was left trying to find something to laugh at. Most of it just feels like them telling you about their lives, which aren't really all that funny as much as they are kind of depressing.
The reason I thought she didn't want to sleep with him anymore was because John Cryer took it out of her.
Sing.
I think it's probably because she just had a baby and she's still getting used to her body after.
No, I think the story is going to be that they've been together so long, but they're just kind of sick of each other, and not that they want to break up or anything, but just that they're so tired of being in the classic suburban life, and they want to like zest up their life.
I think you're overcomplicating it.
I think that's what the story's going to be in the long term.
I don't know.
I think the scene where Tina and Alex bring all the wine into the van, and the wife is all, "Oh yeah, let's drink. It'll be fun." I think that illustrates that she really wants to, start having an actual life aside from being just a mother and a wife again. I think that's really what the story is going to be about.
I don't know, but I don't think so.
But like I said, Chris, you can disagree if you want, but I just don't think there's a lot of comedy here.
No, I agree with you. I don't think there was much of anything there, which was my biggest problem. I mean, I love Melanie Linsky. I think she's a great actress. She was really good in Happy Christmas, which actually, now that I think of it, bothered me as well, because in Happy Christmas, she's a writer, and her sister-in-law, Anna Kendricks, basically comes to town and is like, oh, you should totally, just write a, quick romance novel, one of those sex books, and just, make money that way, and then you can focus on your other book. And they, basically work on writing a romance novel together, and thinking that it's gonna take, a week to get done, and that sort of perspective on, writing romance isn't real writing. It's, just, a cheap, alternative to writing. That really infuriates me. So
back to this.
Yeah, I think she's, I mean, I've seen her in comedic roles and she's great, and he actually creeps me out, but I thought he was good, even though he was really annoying. Yeah. But I mean, his character was annoying, but that's part of his character. The whole gluten, no donuts, vegan. Oh yeah. I actually thought that the friend was the funniest character.
Alex.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, go on. Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was genuinely funny, and I mean, I really think that it would be more appropriately called nothingness, because there's really nothing to the show.
Hi-yo!
But I think you do care more about the supporting characters than you do about the main characters, which I feel is a serious problem. Because even though you care about them and you do feel something, they're not the main characters.
The only thing I felt, and I wrote it down here, was, fuck, it's Ken Marino, when Ken Marino showed up.
I like Ken Marino.
I hate him so much.
He was fine on the show because he wasn't asked to do a lot, and his character was a jackass, which worked fine for me. But I can't stand him.
I used to like him.
Spurts.
Party Down, I liked him. But Marry Me really turned me off Ken Marino.
Oh, and watching him on New Year's Eve really turned me off to Ken Marino.
Well, you got to see him in, again, The League, which I don't know if you'll like it. It might be a little too grotesque for you. And Children's Hospital, Ken Marino.
Is there anything left to say on Togetherness?
Not for me.
No,
Brian,
score. Like I said, I thought it was an average show. I thought it was much better than fucking Eye Candy, though.
I give it a 1.5.
I have it at the same. I had it 2 originally, but talking about it now, I'm going to lower it to 1.5.
2.5.
2.5.
So just an average show.
Let's look at ratings on Marry Me. Let's look at those.
Sorry.
Let's look at ratings on Eye Candy and this before we go any further. Eye Candy debuted Monday at 10 p.m. on MTV, as I said. Not great ratings. 0.2 in terms of adults 18 to 49 with 589,000 viewers. Now, to compare that, no episode of Teen Wolf at that time... No, Teen Wolf was successful for MTV.
I know.
No episode of Teen Wolf has ever gotten less than 1.29 million viewers
People
at that time slot.
Adult women really love Teen Wolf.
I'm sure. So yeah, not a great start for that show, but if you're looking for something to make you laugh, if only for ridiculousness, give that a try. Togetherness also didn't do quite so well. A lot of people were blaming it on the fact that Girls didn't do as well, which had premiered right before it, and Girls is actually down to, I think it's lowest premiere rating ever.
Still renewed it though, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's still a solid show for them, but in terms of overall ratings, it's not doing as good as it once did. But this Togetherness got a very similar rating actually, 0.2 in terms of adults 18 to 49, and 427,000 viewers. So not great either. It actually lost viewers from Girls, which had 680,000 right before it, and the show after it, Looking, which came back for a second season, lost even more.
I'll say though that less people have HBO than have access to MTV.
That is true.
And like I said, this is just an average show. I think Eye Candy should have done much better considering its target audience.
There wasn't a lot of advertising for it, though.
It was strange. They advertised... I think they should have advertised more to the teen as opposed to they advertised to more like a young adult.
Yeah, like the stalker buff.
Yeah, this is a teen show. It's like CW's bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
This type of show. I mean, I find at least the cheesy romance is better done on CW shows than it was on this piece of shit. But it was I think it was just mismarketed. It'll probably do well on DVRs. I think people will go check it out.
Let's talk about Wrestling with Death. Chris, you haven't told us what something is about yet.
Sure.
Tell us about what Wrestling with Death, WGN America's first reality series, what that is about.
Wrestling with Death is about a family that owns a funeral home in Arkansas. Basically, every single member of the family works in the funeral home, but they also have a side venture, which is really their passion, and that is wrestling. Wrestling.
It is wrestling. It's not professional wrestling. This is wrestling.
It's wrestling.
By definition,
Yeah, I don't think they make claim to be anything else.
No, they literally say wrestling like 20,000
Well, yeah, but that's
times.
their accent. But I mean...
No, but it's wrestling.
If you want to differentiate wrestling and professional wrestling, this is the way to differentiate it.
Essentially, many of the family members wrestle. The, I would say the grandmother. I mean...
Yeah, Miss Sandra is her wrestling name. Sandra is her regular name.
Miss Sandra. You've got...
LaFonce.
God, what is his name?
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. LaFonce. First of all, the fact that his name was LaFonce.
LaFonce is the patriarch of the
why
family.
are you not in a great work of literature,
The better question
sir?
is, why isn't your wrestling name LaFonce? It makes you stand out a hell of a lot more than Big Daddy.
Makes him sound like a male stripper, though.
No, if your
LaFonce.
If your character's like LaFonce...
Entering stage right.
Give me a French last name.
LaFonce.
Terrible. Give me an actual French last name.
Beauchamp?
Sure. If his name was LaFonce, that.
Beauchamp.
And his gimmick was like he was an uppity, like southern, dandy, that'd be a great gimmick. That might have a chance of getting over.
Actually, I'm interested in that.
See? As opposed to old man wrestling, which is what his gimmick seems to be.
Old man Undertaker, Paul Bearer.
Lest we forget White Lightning.
Paul Bearer.
White Lightning is his son, I believe.
I believe so. Or, no,
Yeah.
is
That's
it
his
his
son.
son or
It's
his
his son.
son-in-law?
No, his son-in-law's name is Harry, and I don't know what his gimmick is. His gimmick is a guy who left his wife.
His son-in-law is Derek.
Sorry, his former son-in-law.
Yeah, his
Yes.
former son-in-law was Harry.
His new son-in-law is Derek.
What was Harry's name?
I don't know.
Derek, who aspires to be one of
Trailer
the
Trash?
a combination of one of the Dudley Boys and Viscera.
He's black. That's what you say. You're talking about
why
Devon
are you
Dudley.
being racist?
Oh
and
no,
Cisco?
it's the hair too.
Cisco.
Shelton Benjamin is really what he's going after.
All right,
Shelton
all right.
had that white hair for a while. I'm a big wrestling fan, by the way, for you listeners that don't know. So I was really annoyed by the show and didn't want to watch it at all.
What did you think of the wrestling?
Okay, let's talk about that.
Well, it's separated into two parts because obviously there's a
There's a
work
mortuary
aspect.
component
Yes.
and there's a wrestling component.
And there is a warning at the beginning of this,
Old people wrestling.
which
No,
Dana
I would assume that
that it's dead bodies. So you like to
Yeah.
see actual dead bodies and cadavers. Dana's problem with the show was that the warning should not have been about the dead bodies, but about seeing LaFonce or whatever in spandex. She goes, God, this is disgusting. Tell me when he stops.
The main
It
issue
wasn't
I have.
that bad.
That's what I said, but
well,
apparently it was.
he has the Jeff Jarrett like circa '96 tights where it's like full pants and then like a weird like pieces of cloth on top.
Yeah, it looked like a tiger had gotten
Which
to
he
him.
shouldn't be wearing because you need to
Looked
be a
like
lot
some
more built to be
S&M
wearing
type
that.
stuff.
Jeff Jarrett can't even wear it now. The main issue
Ain't
with
no
the show,
shame.
huh?
Ain't no shame.
They
Should be
had
more
they had
shame
no
than there
shame.
was.
They had no shame.
It's wrestling. There's no shame in wrestling.
Okay, you guys are talking a hell of a lot more about wrestling than the guy who likes wrestling is.
I said there's no shame in wrestling.
The
Calm
main
yourself.
issue with the show, in my opinion, is the fact that it's so fucking disjointed. Alone, you could have a very interesting show if you just focused on this family who owns a mortuary. I think that's where the show is most interesting.
Well, that's why I said let's focus. Let's talk about the wrestling first.
I know, but this is my issue.
Well, we had this conversation, and
Yeah.
I think the reason that they chose this is the juxtaposition between the wrestling and the funeral home.
But the
one
wrestling-
that's so staid and like formal and respectful, and one that's just outlandish and violent and just
But the
all
wrestling
over the
aspect
place.
of the show, I think, really brings down the potential for a show for just a mortuary-based show because the wrestling aspect is really depressing to watch, and also just to see that this is how much influence wrestling has on these people's lives.
I find it interesting you say that that's the depressing part.
Of course it is. I mean, you have this very old man. He's got to be in his late 60s in La France. And he, as he says in the beginning of the show, his passion is wrestling. And his family's passion is wrestling.
The mortuary business is very important to my family, but also to the community. It helps people in a hard time. It helps them move on. And we love doing that job, and we do it well. But my heart is in professional wrestling.
That's fine. I happen to know that nearly no independent wrestling organization at this size turns any profit. Because with all the wrestlers you have to pay, with the lighting, with paying everybody to work there, the ring announcer, who's probably the best guy in the whole fucking federation, you're losing a lot of money.
Because we're making big bucks over here at Antenna Heads?
Yeah, but
You do it because you love it.
Yeah, you
That's
like
why
doing
they
it.
do it. Like the woman said in the parking lot, there's very little to do in that town.
There's nothing.
There's the Walmarts. You can go out to dinner, or you can go to wrestling.
Go wrestling, and I'd rather go to the wrestling.
Here's the thing. Did you see the crowd? There's like 20 people in the crowd. They're not turning any profit.
Bullshit. It's 100 people.
Bullshit.
There's 100 people in that gym or whatever.
But
it was.
that's
But the whole point is exactly what Chris said. It's a
their
passion.
crowd.
No, the point is, it's depressing to watch.
I don't
At the
think
same
so.
Time,
I
you have an old man taking bumps he should never be taking at his age. He tried to throw a DDT running that literally looks like he slipped and fell and grabbed the guy's neck to stop himself. Which is super dangerous.
But it looked fucking cool.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
It looked really sad.
Hey,
I'll show you
listen,
cool wrestling.
listen.
This isn't good.
If something bad happens in the ring, at least they don't have to travel far or spend a lot of money to get laid up.
You had this joke prepared.
No,
Yeah,
this was off the
He
cuff.
did, though.
It's true.
Not off the cuff.
That's the beauty of it.
He at one point promotes his wife who left the wrestling world to battle breast cancer and who successfully did, promotes her to return to the ring without telling her.
It's reality, quote. There was she didn't know.
No, I'm aware of that.
She
But
needed
if
to
you
be in
wanna sell
physical
me-
shape.
If you want to tell me as this being reality, he's a massive jackass. His wife clearly wasn't in ring shape.
Wait.
Her big finisher
Wait.
is a side slam.
Wait. First of all,
Yes.
have you seen women's wrestling?
Yes, I have. I've seen good women's wrestling. I
How-
can show you a match of the year from last year that
No.
was a female match.
Show me like not backyard type, like gymnasium type.
That's the sad thing about this. That's
So
why
wait,
this
that's
is
one
really
thing.
But
hurting
she
the
wrestles
show.
men.
That's one thing.
Yeah,
Two.
She wrestles men.
But what does that matter? She wrestles men poorly, Chris.
I didn't think it was that poorly.
I thought it was fine.
That's
I
because it
enjoyed
was cut to shit. I can tell you, if you were watching that match legitimately, it would be two people
No, I
stumbling
don't
around
mean.
the ring.
I
But
don't mean the match.
we
I mean when
didn't.
she was practicing.
Well, what did she do? The practice tag team match they had, it was kind of sad because they weren't actually trying to work a match. In that
No, they were just practicing.
I know, but I didn't think she looked that great. What did she do?
No, but I thought she held her own well.
Yeah, she held her own in a wrestling match full of 4 people who shouldn't be wrestling.
But you don't usually see women wrestle with men.
And she's not
There's
young.
a reason for that, and it's because a lot of companies don't like to promote it because it's eventually there has to be some sort of violence against women. Because why would the guy not hit the woman if he wants to win a match?
True, but
Yeah, but
and the WWE specifically doesn't like to book those matches because they don't like to project violence against women with their PG.
well, this is Arkansas. Things are different.
I know. Like I said, overall, I thought the wrestling component really pulled down a show that could otherwise be somewhat interesting in that you have a family of mortuary.
I liked that
running.
it wasn't as serious, and I thought they kind of took actual enjoyment in it. While they didn't care so much about being technical, it was more about the fun aspect and the entertainment. And I don't think they're real wrestlers. His dream was to, his passion is to be a wrestler, but he's not that proficient at it. I mean, if he was really that serious about it, he'd be in much better shape.
Yes, he would. His whole family would. I felt so bad. Okay, just one thing.
The little kid.
Yeah, the little kid. Oh,
Max. I
know
felt
his
bad
name.
for him because he's in this family and he's being indoctrinated, for lack of a better phrase, into thinking wrestling is the end all and be all. When really, get yourself an education, kid. Don't rely on wrestling because the vast majority of kids who try to get into wrestling won't make it to the point where they're actually making any money.
Well, no, the fall it's here. Okay, so now this
she's
shift.
got the family business to
The
fall
family
back on.
business. This is the one thing I actually liked about the show was that they are actually somewhat respectful of the job they do. Like it was like Two-Face, right? the guy you saw at the end giving the eulogy was not the same guy who was in his wrestling leotard.
Yeah.
And I could kind of respect the fact that he was serious when they were filling the cadaver with the formaldehyde. Even though he was trying to talk a little bit, whatever, the guy who was talking about it was very businesslike about it.
You mean the guy with the killer mullet?
Yes. Oh, that's his. I think that's his son-in-law. That's his former son-in-law.
Former son-in-law. Then the makeup artist.
Yeah. That's his actual son.
The mortician is his actual son.
Right.
Will agree to disagree about the makeup and all that stuff.
It was awful. It was like painting a room where you painted all one flat color. Like, it was like her face was one color.
Yeah, but you don't know what she looked like. They didn't show her face.
Maybe she was a yellow wall.
Yeah,
how do you know?
No, they didn't show her face when she came in. So you don't know what he had to work with?
No,
And
but
when
you saw him applying makeup?
But when you saw the pictures of her, too, she didn't,
The
no
picture
offense, her, she
the
was
photo
not
that
a...
they showed at the end, for like in memory of,
That
made me
looked
really
worse.
sad.
Yeah,
you need
no.
a contour, okay? You contour,
right. Chris,
you highlight.
Part of it is that they need to make her up so that she resembles the woman that everyone remembers. Now,
Yes.
if she doesn't look like that...
Did she have one color on her face? Was there no shadow?
She maybe-
Was it one flat color?
She maybe never
Your
put
face
makeup
naturally, No, if you don't have...
Did you see that last picture?
Brian, if you don't have makeup on, you have darker spots on your face, you have lighter spots on your face where the light hits you.
He should have
That
taken
doesn't
a Sharpie
happen
and just been like,
when you take one color of makeup and put it all over your face. You look like you're flat.
okay. If I just want to...
Go ask my mom when she sees me like mid makeup and I only have foundation on and I haven't put anything else on. She's like, "Oh, come down to eat," and I go to eat. She's like, "What the hell is up with your face?" And it's because I have just
Put down your food and go put on
it's
some more
just
makeup.
foundation.
The other thing I want to talk about, and the other main issue I have with the show, is that it's so fucking contrived. There is not one aspect of this show, not one scene, that you can reasonably believe to be reality-based. And I know that all reality shows are predetermined one way or another, much like wrestling in that fashion, I should say.
It's hard because it also is,
but the
you're
thing
going
is,
into someone's personal
good reality
grieving.
shows are able to mask the predetermined nature of the show and still give you an entertaining show. As with this, you can't look at any scene and go, "Oh, yeah, that wasn't obviously contrived." Like the scene where LaFonce and his son try to scare their new son-in-law, Derek,
Right.
the black man, as he'll be known.
Cisco
is a good name for him also. Derek is also a good name for him. They basically, Vassan hides under a sheet, and LaFonce is like, "Oh, yeah, look at this dead body," and the guy jumps out and scares him. And there's no, honest reaction in that. It's like, after it happens, LaFonce is just like, "Yeah, well, this is your initiation into the world of bodies."
Now let's move over here to the embalming machine, and this is the fluids, and this is what helps firm up the body and helps preserve the body. And one of the ways you can tell, you can always tell by the firmness. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Jerry jumped up from there and all around.
I'm telling you, he was pale. He was very pale. And I'm not trying to be funny.
That was part of your fuel home
Initiation.
Initiation.
I see that. Thanks a lot.
It's like, he's clearly done this 5 times, and this is the best one they could use.
Yeah,
It was just pathetic.
But not everybody is good in front of the camera, too.
And that's why he shouldn't have a reality show.
I had a really hard time keeping all the names straight in terms of the way that they introduced the characters to you. I feel like-
and they had that stupid Project Runway-esque big flag in front of them, with the name.
Oh, yeah. It was just hard. I mean, it seemed like it wasn't really that many people, but the fact that there's the old son-in-law and then the new, and then the way he described it, oh, that's his new stepfather and that's his father, and it just was a lot more confusing than it actually is.
Max, his LaFonce's grandson,
Mm-hmm.
also made me sad, not only because this is the world he's going to grow up in, but also because when LaFonce takes him out to promote the matches and everything,
yeah,
I know, he doesn't once say that it's wrestling.
Come to the Friday show this Friday night.
I felt so bad for him. I'm like, kid, I know you're trying, but just say wrestling. Promote the thing that the show is about.
And he's 9, and he has no neck.
He's 9? I thought he was like 12.
No, he's 9.
He's 9, but he is a very big 9.
Huge. He's 120 pounds.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Come to the show this Friday night. There's a Good Friday night show this Friday.
Just say that car stop. Haul it out right now. Tell them.
Come to the Friday night show this Friday. Ow!
I feel bad for this kid because just get an education. Don't rely on wrestling. It's not going to work out for you.
I just wanted to point out that when you mentioned that,
Give up on all your hopes and dreams, kid.
I'm sorry. Hey, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Get an education.
I probably still could because I'm a poli-sci major, but I'm not going to be a professional wrestler.
Did you want to be a professional wrestler?
At a time, yes.
You actually wanted to be one.
Yeah.
I enjoy lots of things without wanting to be them.
Right. That's what this whole family should do with professional wrestling.
No, they do it for fun.
Anything else to mention? Do you guys have a score?
Yes, I do have something to mention. You mentioned this as saying that it's hard to see past the created reality.
Sure.
And I say that this is just much like watching most of these other sitcoms that we watch. So I'd like to say an even split reality TV versus scripted television. Very rarely do you find good reality TV that doesn't need to be reshot or need to be prompted or needs to be scripted heavily and heavy-handed, in terms of the way of its run. So this is kind of run-of-the-mill for other reality TV that's out there. And it's actually not that bad when you consider other stuff that's out there.
That saddens me for your viewing habits.
It's no, I'm not saying that this is the stuff I watch. I'm just saying that it really isn't that bad in stuff that's out there.
There's a point
there's a ton of history stuff.
There's a point where they try to sell Derek as like the city slicker who doesn't know about these country ways.
Best line ever. I don't have the quote.
Is it I'm, no pun intended, the black sheep of the family?
No.
Because he totally meant that pun.
Yeah, oh yeah. My favorite line was when Max is talking about his new stepdad, Derek, and he's like, oh, he hates anything that has to do with the country. He hates snakes. He hates fake snakes.
Country. Fake snake capital of the world.
Spoiler, he's going to get a cow next episode.
Yeah, I thought the whole show weighed a cow about 15 minutes in.
It wasn't great. I thought it was not the worst show this week.
Let's go to ratings.
My main takeaway from this is that I want to be buried in cheetah print socks.
How is that your takeaway? Oh, it's right. The lady had
cheetah
pink ones.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for that lady.
But I want legit cheetah print socks. Like I want like brown, like
already,
realistic cheetah print socks, not like pink or some wacky color.
I got it. I've noted it on my folder. Noted. It's fine.
Noted. Yeah. My rating was 1.5.
My rating, I believe, was also 1.5 on this.
Mine was a 2.5.
That is shocking.
I really like the scenes within the whatever I can understand the troubles of having to work in a family company. Mm-hmm. The dynamics are similar. Yep. And as far as reality TV, I've watched probably a lot more than you have. This is run of the mill, as average a show as you're going to see. Not great. You watch an episode, you watch one, 12 episodes from now, you don't miss anything in between. To me, it's like hospital TV. This is that kind of right in the middle.
Think Derek will be able to do it?
He's a city boy, not a country boy. My stepdad's scared of anything that has to do with the country, like snakes or fake snakes.
Go to the final show this week.
The final show is quite a fucking mystery.
Brian told me that he liked this show more than Eye Candy.
Yeah, and I stand by that.
All right. What is the show and what is it about, Brian?
This show is Man Seeking Women. Yes. Or Man Seeking Woman.
Woman.
Just one.
Woman.
It is... I have no idea what the show is. And that's essentially what they tried desperately to do. And I think they failed in that regard because they were trying so hard to push the envelope that they fell hard.
The way I would best describe it.
Well, it's
a guy who breaks up with his
long-term girlfriend.
And the show basically illustrates his internal emotions visually as if they are happening in real life.
Well,
so an example of that.
Wait, you don't know yet. You don't know where the line between his what, if any of this is realistic.
Well, yes, but the thing is...
I'm pretty sure the limo and, what was
Obama
it?
calling him?
Obama and, what was it?
The League of something, I don't even know.
No, it was...
it was the MacArthur grant.
Yeah, that's what it was. Calling him. I'm pretty sure that was in his head.
No. The thing is, I think all of this happens in the show's reality. But the main focus or concept of the show is that you get to see what happens in the average person's subconscious in this man's real life. Because his friends even react to it at a certain point when his ex-girlfriend starts dating actually Adolf Hitler.
Well, okay. So it starts in the traditional long-term relationship. They break up. He walks down the street and immediately it starts to rain. Ah, shit. Typical whatever. Then you look around and it's just beautiful, sunny, and it's just raining on him.
Right. And birds
are
start
dying
and
dead.
It
and all that
illustrates his feelings of just being shit on by the world.
Yeah, there's been another couple of shows on this, but then it proceeds to go to the next level, and it does it I was going to say gradually. It does it in intensifying elements. So the next scene is where his sister sets him up on a blind date.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry, I skipped the whole interaction with him and his friend, which I thought it was funny. The interaction with him and his friend, that was the only part of the show I really enjoyed.
Another Tinder-like reference on the show.
Another Tinder-like reference.
Yep. And women love to be called Gash because that's all we are.
Would you prefer Gash or Schwiz?
Are you just making them up?
Yeah, or Smoog.
Gash is actually a term.
I'm sure it is. Schwiz is a term.
Yeah, sure.
You just made up.
Yeah, he's on Urban Dictionary right now. I like that interaction. The whole thing with the shirt, the contrasting collar, the cuffs and collars. It was that moment, 2 minutes, was enjoyable. Then he gets set up on this blind date with this Swedish woman, and they pan to what looks like an average-looking blonde woman.
That's a very pretty-looking blonde woman, I would say.
And then there's a troll digging through trash in the dumpster.
A legitimate troll.
Troll.
So you think, no, he must be tripping balls on shrooms or acid or whatever. No, that's legitimately his date that his sister's setting him up on. Now she comes into the restaurant. They're having a dinner conversation. He makes an internal monologue about how, wow, this is going kind of well, and she is not responding to him because she's a fucking troll. And then he says, oh, I usually troll the internet boards or whatever internet joke he makes.
Yeah.
And she takes offense to it, of course, which I would too if someone called me a troll. And she bites his finger, which is very adult. And she decides to chase him around the fucking restaurant. She
bites his leg.
Yeah, she bites his leg eventually. Nobody notices or even reacts to them running around the restaurant. He then kicks her across the room, and
no one notices.
Nobody notices.
Right.
Until he says to his sister, she's whatever. Oh, she's a fucking troll.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And everyone reacts.
And they're like,
right. And I think in a way, what that's trying to capture is going on a first date, somebody sets you up with, which you don't really want to go on, with somebody who you find ugly. And then when you offend them in some way, or you say something negative about them, people find that offensive. I think it's an okay concept. It just doesn't work for comedy at all because there's no fucking comedy in the show.
But it might have worked if it stopped there. If it came down to another reality, let's say he met the girl at the end of the show, and that was it. So it kind of balanced it out. Like he has these peak moments of whatever panic, anxiety, and he imagines these things because he's fucking crazy, or maybe he's schizophrenic. That'd be great. Set him up with the doctor from Black Box. Then he meets with his ex-girlfriend, and she's going out with a guy named Adolf. And yes, it's Adolf Hitler. Apparently he's been hiding in Argentina. He's 140 years old. And
yep. It was the most fucking ridiculous
hilarity
shit
ensues.
Ever.
I will say this. The one laugh I got out of this show was a comment that Hitler makes. Now that's really sad to say, for no other reason than Hitler is the funny guy on a sitcom. But the joke he makes about Tinder, I thought was kind of funny. Where he's like, oh, back in my day, I would say I want that one, and then his guards would burn her house, and that was my Tinder.
Yep.
I thought that was a clever joke. There was nothing else to laugh at on the show.
Oh, like I said, there was only for me, it was the 2 minutes in the beginning.
Tinder is like Facebook, but it's just like straight to smashing.
To smashing?
Yeah.
When I was in Austria, back in that day, I would say that one. And my bodyguards, they would take her and they would put her in my bed.
Really?
They would burn the house down.
That is cool.
That was my Tinder.
That's the good old days.
That's the good old days. No apps for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I was there with you.
You'd be dead if you were there. You don't want to be dead.
The fact that it got to this point made me realize that they almost wanted to see what they could get away with. Right. And it almost undermines anything else that happens in the future.
And really, that whole idea of showing somebody's internal feelings literally in real life.
Black box.
Isn't bad.
No. But in this show, it wears out its welcome way too quickly.
It did it. It's like I said, the troll was enough. Adolf Hitler was over the top. If they had done Adolf Hitler, and he could have been like, oh, this guy's terrible. He's worse than Hitler. But the fact that they did both.
And when you get the Obama stuff later on, a very good Obama impersonator, by the way.
Yes, and
it's the guy from SNL.
I didn't mind the Obama.
It sounds just like the guy from SNL.
It is because it's Lorne Michaels is behind this. I didn't mind the stuff at the end. I actually thought that was within reason for what this show needed. You know, the limo picking a high five, guys. Oh, this fucking reporters won't even leave me alone.
Because that's how he felt after picking up a girl.
Right. It's just
who's also from SNL. I don't remember what her name is.
Yeah.
It was just all too much. Yeah. All of it.
I will say the one good thing that the show does is at least by the end of the pilot, there is that arc in that, you know, the protagonist actually does get a girl and things start to go well for him at the end. If they hadn't done that, which they easily could have not done that, it would have been all the worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. It needed that.
I don't think. Do you have anything else to add on
Just
this?
a note.
Yeah.
My notes for the show were literally just ... awful. I can't.
My first
Those are
notes. My first notes for the show is, so what is this show about?
I spent the entire time trying to figure out what this show is about.
I had this at 1 out of 5.
No, I had it at 2. 2.
I gave it a 0.5, but I literally wrote 0 if allowed. If you will allow it, I will give it a 0. So 0.5 it is.
If you want.
Well, you should have been doing that a lot earlier, but yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever seen a show that was a 0.
I think I gave one.
I think
I gave one a 0.
No, I think I gave that a 1.
But I don't remember what it was.
All right, you can give it a 0.
You can give it a 0.
I have it at a 1, if for nothing else, and it made me laugh at one very specific point.
I thought it was a 2.
Didn't make me laugh.
I am going to actually watch the second episode to see if this was just the pilot, get this all out of the way, or what happens to it. I just thought it was kind of like somebody saw Wilfred and said, let's make this even fucking crazier than Wilfred. And I think the main character, Jay, whatever his name is, I forget his last name. Something with a B. Yeah, I can't remember. How to Train Your Dragon.
Jay Birchall or something like that.
Yeah. Or the kid from Sorcerer's Stone. No.
Every week we get a Harry Potter reference. Jay Birchall. Yeah.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice. The bad Nick Cage Disney movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so done with this show.
He was so whiny, and it was kind of annoying.
Never again. I'll let you know. Not even the Isaac Newton joke.
I'll let you know next week when I watch the second one.
Good one.
Well, not really next week. I'll probably just go on the DVR and I'll never watch it.
Clearly FXX, which is the network for the show, is just so hard up for original programs.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. They'll take anything. And listen, why not?
I'll tell you why not. It's fucking terrible.
No, I mean, overall, even though it wasn't bad, it has the same...
let's go to this.
It has the same IMDb rating that iCandy does.
That's fine. I mean...
That's shameful.
If you want to just go by IMDb. Brian, what was your show of the week this week? Best show.
No, give us the order.
Fine, give us the order.
I can go first.
It takes 4 times as long.
I already have it.
No, I got it. Togetherness, Wrestling with Death, Man-Seeking Woman, iCandy.
Chris?
Mine was Eye Candy, Wrestling with Death, Togetherness, and Man-Seeking Woman.
Mine was Eye Candy, Togetherness, Wrestling with Death, Man-Seeking Woman.
All right, then.
There you go.
There you go.
Before we leave on this episode of Antenna Heads, let's hear about all the interesting things going on at ChrisConkers.com. From Chris.
Things are happening.
Things are happening.
Posts are being posted.
Lots of posts.
Lots of posts.
What was the most recent post? Was it a book post or a beauty post?
I think yesterday's post was a double cover reveal for 2 books by Molly McAdams that are going to be coming out, one in March and one in June. So it was a kind of like a blog tour sort of thing where everyone reveals the covers at the same time. It's like a big reveal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And there's a new post going up tomorrow on some Lush stuff that I got for Christmas.
A luscious post indeed.
And this week there was a post, if you've ever had trouble finding a color match for your foundation, getting like the right color for your skin, there's a post on how to do that, whether you're doing it online or in store.
Awesome. I did actually. I saw that you posted that.
Yeah, it was a big post. Because I was like, oh, and then you should remember this. And then there's some general tips at the end for just general foundation purchasing tips.
So what foundation should I use?
Which
do you have oilier skin?
Oh, fucking oily as hell.
So you need
Fry an
something
egg.
with a matte finish. Do you want more coverage or less coverage? Like, do you want it to be able to see freckles, or do you want like...
I have no freckles, so it really
It's
doesn't
got a
matter.
beard, though. You have to work around the beard.
But do you want... I literally read something today. There was a man who was shopping for foundation. He chose a Clarins one, a new one, that is a longwear foundation that apparently works well and doesn't get stuck in your beard.
Ah.
So,
And Brian disgraced because he asked Chris for foundation tips.
I never wear it. I don't even... I forget to wash my face every other day.
That disgusts me.
That is
to
gross.
a serious level.
I mean, I shower every day, but I don't wash my face at the end of the day.
I know. Very
What was
cool,
that?
Chris. Very cool.
We'll talk about it later.
B911b.com. Brian's happening photo blog.
Yeah, I've been trying to post some new stuff my new camera that I got over the holiday break. I actually put up a picture of Flushing. I was waiting for the bus, and I just caught a crowded bus leaving and a crowd of people. Typical Flushing, but I said this picture will look good in black and white.
Very cool. Brian, photo blogger extraordinaire Cassis,
and then
just had to reinvest in a new flash.
Yeah, I did, because my other one just isn't going to work anymore with a new camera. I don't want to take a chance of ruining it. So I ordered one. I plan on working with remote, because it came with a remote trigger. Nothing exciting. It's like $100. Consider when flash goes, name brand flash is like $3 and change. So I'm not investing $200 on a flash.
I agree.
I did post a picture I took at the Bronx Zoo, because I'm going to run the Run for the Wild 5K again this year. Awesome. This year, the money's being raised to increase conservation efforts for the I forget which gorilla in particular, but I believe it's just going to general funds to help gorillas in Africa. And you can sign up for the race. I believe the registration fee is like $35. They do ask you to raise a minimum of like $30 to participate, but it's fun. You get to stay at the zoo for the rest of the day. You can buy discounted spectator tickets. So if you want to bring friends and family, you can pay I think half admission. Parking is free for the day if you get there early. And I had a lot of fun last year. There's a lot of people that run it. It's got some decent support. It does sell out. They do cap it at a certain number, and you can run also. You don't have to run the race. Cool. And you're running through the zoo. So if you've ever been to the Bronx Zoo or you like to run and you want to do both at the same time, there's something exciting about running through and seeing the animals, and they're just kind of looking at you going, what the hell is this person doing?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just go to the Bronx Zoo site or go to the WCS Wildlife Conservation Fund sites, whatever service group. And
just go to the Bronx Zoo website.
Just go to my site, b911b.com. It's the second last post I put up. It's a nice gorilla.
Very cool, Brian. You're a nice gorilla, as Bruno Mars would say.
I still haven't heard that song.
No.
Anyway, very cool. Before we leave here, also want to plug next week's show. A couple of new shows next week. 12 Monkeys on Sci-Fi. Very, very interesting show. Probably going to be terrible. And also Backstrom.
Yeah, Backstrom.
Long-awaited Backstrom, starring Rainn Wilson on Fox. A show that Chris, I believe, was confused as to whether it was a comedy or a drama.
It's a comedy drama.
I just
we'll find out which one of those it is next week.
It's a comedy drama. So thank you, Al, and thank you, Cristina. She's still working on her champagne over there. Was she done?
No, I still have a ton left.
Well, wait, hold on. You can't end the show until she ends that. So come on.
No, that's gonna be forever. It's not gonna happen. I'm not chugging champagne. No.
Oh, she did it!
Yeah, well done.
They can't tell.
They can't tell. Don't worry, we won't ruin the secret. So for Cristina and Alex, this is Brian saying thank you for listening to episode 76 of Antenna Heads.